He doesn't want to convert you to anything. He doesn't want you to join an organization. And I approach you in the same spirit as a musician with his piano or a violinist with his violin. I just want you to enjoy a point of view which I enjoy.
Well, we have an interesting subject this morning, but it is one which has been considered, reconsidered, denied, and affirmed over periods of thousands of years. Apparently, we are all confronted with the mystery of solving more or less completely the major issues of life. We have not gotten very far in that procedure up to the present time. We have found many answers, but not the answer to the major issues of existence.
This is who we are. But who are we beneath the job title, beneath the status of mother or father, theist or atheist, Republican or Democrat, black or white, man or woman? Who are we? Who are we deep down inside? We don't know, because every time we hear an answer that we don't want to accept about ourselves, we deny it. We'll pass it off and project it onto somebody else and judge them for it. This is repression. And we see what repression can do to us on an individual level, but what about on a collective level of humanity? What happens when the whole world refuses to see what they truly are on the inside?
We were wanderers from the beginning. We knew every stand of tree for 100 miles. When the fruits or nuts were ripe, we were there. We followed the herds in their annual migrations. We rejoiced in fresh meat. Through stealth, feint, ambush, and main force assault, a few of us cooperating accomplished what many of us, each hunting alone, could not. We depended on one another. Then, as now, technology was the key to our survival. For 99.9% of the time since our species came to be, we were hunters and foragers, wanderers on the savannas and the steppes. We were bounded only by the earth and the ocean and the sky. In the last 10,000 years, an instant in our long history, we've abandoned the nomadic life. For all its material advantages, the sedentary life has left us edgy, unfulfilled. Even after 400 generations in villages and cities, we haven't forgotten. The open road still softly calls, like a nearly forgotten song of childhood. We invest far-off places with a certain romance. Your own life, or your band's, or even your species might be owed to a restless few, drawn by a craving they can hardly articulate or understand, to undiscovered lands and new worlds. Herman Melville in Moby Dick spoke for wanderers in all epochs and meridians. He said, "I am tormented with an everlasting itch for things remote. I love to sail forbidden seas." Since we first emerged a few million years ago in East Africa, we've meandered our way around the planet. There are now people on every continent and the remotest islands. From pole to pole, from Mount Everest to the Dead Sea, on the ocean bottoms, and even, occasionally, in residence 200 miles up. Humans, like the gods of old, living in the sky.
Within all organisms, outdated science has only explained the physical world measured by our five senses. Only in esoteric religions, mysticism, and quantum fields of science are we to find any attempt at explaining where thoughts and emotions fit into the sense-perceptible world. We also understand now that humanity is a community of cells within the organism of the Earth. The Earth, therefore, is a higher organism that shapes our form and function. This higher organism and all other planetary bodies are governed by consciousness, just as we individual humans are.
I know that the molecules in my body are traceable to phenomena in the cosmos. And it's our 15 pounds of gray matter that figured this out. There's a kinship with the cosmos.
Ultimately, the greatest discovery of our Earth is its consciousness. A visible attribute of consciousness is an energetic field that governs the shaping of organisms. Morphogenesis is a scientific term to explain this very shaping of tissues, organs, and entire organisms. Consciousness is the creative force of the entire universe. It has been given many names such as God, Yahweh, Krishna, nature, the field, and divinity. The entire universe is in fact a single living, conscious organism with complete awareness of itself. The reason why it may seem difficult to comprehend this is because our understanding is typically limited by our language. When we hear the term conscious organism, we tend to anthropomorphize its definition. By giving it human qualities, we mistakenly look past what an organism truly is in the first place. The definition of an organism is any living thing capable of response to stimuli, reproduction, growth and development, and maintenance of homeostasis as a stable whole. Our universe does all of these things. The consciousness of our universe is responsible for the form and purpose that all matter assumes.
Sure, we can know truth in kind of a scientific sense, chemical properties, natural laws. But when we get to areas of philosophy, and especially religion, people argue that there's no such thing as truth. Truth is relative to the place, the time, the culture that you grew up in. Truth is not knowable. That's opinion. That's all faith. There's a major picture, a visual that's going around in philosophy right now, and in this kind of ecumenical movement of religion, and that's the picture of an elephant. It comes from the Eastern school of basically Hinduism, and the notion is if we take this elephant and we take a bunch of blind people that have access to this elephant, okay? I'm blind and I have access to the tusk. I feel a spear. That's my reality, is that I just feel this one piece and it's a spear. And then somebody else is at the tail and they feel a broom in this example. And that's their reality. Because remember, they're blind, so they're feeling this, they're touching it, and it's a broom. Somebody comes to the ear, and their reality is a big fan, this big blowing fan. Somebody else comes up to a leg, and for them it's a tree, it's a trunk. And again, the point here being that we all have this limited access to truth in a philosophical or religious sense. We all have our own perspective, and we're, in a sense, blind to all the other parts of this bigger whole.
The blind men and the elephant. There were 6 men of Hindustan, to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The first approached the elephant, and happening to fall against his broad and sturdy side, at once began to bawl, "God bless me, but the elephant is very like a wall." The second feeling of the tusk cried, "Ho, what have we here? So very round and smooth and sharp, 'tis quite clear, this wonder of an elephant is very like a spear." The third approached the elephant, and happening to take the squirming trunk within his hand, thus boldly up he spake, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a snake." The fourth reached out his eager hand and fell upon the knee. "What most this wondrous beast is like is very plain," quoth he. "'Tis clear enough the elephant is very like a tree." The fifth, who chanced to touch his ears, said, "Even the blind man can tell. What this resembles most, deny the fact, who can tell? This marvel of an elephant is very like a fan." The sixth no sooner began about the beast to grope, than seizing on the swinging tail that fell within his scope, "I see," quoth he,